What's up, good people? This is the Truth Is podcast, and today we're going to talk about grief. We're going to talk about who'd you lose. We're going to talk about your emotions behind it, and we're going to talk about how you healed from it. So today we're going to start out with Sonia. Yeah, don't look at me like that. We're going to start out with Sonia today, and set it off, Sonia. Tell the people what it is.
Well, I had several experiences with loss and grief. Um, some of them were back to back. Actually, they all were back to back. I lost my mom, and 9 months later, I lost my husband, and 2 years later, I believe, uh, 3 years later, I lost my father. So, grief is something that no one, it's inevitable, but you just never think it's going to be you, especially when it's unexpected. I think the one that hit me the hardest is when my husband passed because it was unexpected. Um, have I healed from it? I No. I think I'm healing. I'm on my way. Um, I'm living through it. There's always going to be something that you are going to it's going to trigger you and take you back to that place when it first happened. Um, Losing someone is like literally having a hole in your heart. And I know some people, like, it sounds a little cliche-ish, but it actually feels like a hole was ripped out of your heart. And that it's not mended, it's almost like singed. It stops bleeding, but there's still a scar and there's still a hole there. So it's not an easy thing to talk about right now for me, even though it's been 8 years for me, and I can think about it, but to talk about it is hard. And people look at you and be like, "Oh, you're strong and you've moved on and such and such and such and such." But when you have or had, and that's another thing that happens. You don't know what tense you're in. You don't know if you're the past or present because you still talk about that person like he or she is here. Um, so it's 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 hard to talk about, and not so much because you're still hurting like that, but then it just takes you back, like when that person was here, and now they're no longer here, which is just you could never think that would ever happen. So I think at this point I'm kind of rambling because I'm getting somewhere, feeling some kind of way. So I'm going to turn this over to Pop.
I was gonna let you ramble.
Nah, man, because
Up,
rambling's going to turn into
up,
something else.
up,
So
up until this point, I've never spoke about. I never spoke about the death of my father. I don't understand. Death is something that you cannot ever get used to.
yeah,
That you're never gonna hear that person's voice.
yeah,
You're never gonna be able to touch that person. You're never gonna hear their humor. You're never gonna be able to get their advice. It sets you back. It sets you back. For my father, I would follow his lead. If he was into something, I would basically get into it, and I would basically hide behind his personality. And when he left, I had to find someplace else to hide.
wow,
So I don't know. I tried to disappear. I didn't know how to heal. When somebody dies, everybody gives you hugs and everybody says they're going to be there and
yeah,
everybody
yeah,
says,
yeah.
I'll call you, I'm there, you have somebody to talk to. But after a couple of weeks, they disappear
They
and
go,
nobody
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
nobody looks for you, and nobody calls out to you. And in the culture that I was raised in, we learn to put on a face, a happy face, even though we're mourning, healing, however you want to put it. And I hid for basically 10 years. I didn't want nothing to do with my church that I went to. I didn't want to participate at all. It was hard being a dad. It was hard to be someone to be dependent upon. And my best friend was gone. So I'm gonna come back after Anita expresses, after she expresses, and give you some more detailed things.
Wow. How do I follow up on that? My experience with death, I've had so many. You know, it started at a very young age. I lost my mom at 17. Then my mom was murdered when I was 17 years old. The summer before my senior year. So I didn't have my mom to be there for my prom. She wasn't there, you know. I would never forget the day I graduated from high school, and I was graduating, and it was so many people. I went to a very large high school, and there was so many people there. Friends, family members were there, and I remember I felt like I was standing in the middle of the football field alone looking for my mother, and she wasn't there. So I didn't get to share a lot with my mom. And then from there, went to my grandmother, which was my mother's mom. I lost her 5 years after that. And then I lost my sister. And then I lost my father. And then God blessed me with a second mom. And then she left too. So it's been a lot of death in my life, and that's just family members. I haven't even gone into friendships, but I lost a lot of people. But I've always been somewhat resilient with death. I allow myself to feel it. You know, I give myself that moment. I'm gonna allow myself time to feel this loss, this hurt, this pain. So that's how I got through, you know, each death. And I can't say I'm over it. I'm not. But what I realized in all these deaths, I did all I could do for them. You know, I loved on my family. I loved my mom, my second mom, my dad, my sister, which was my best friend and had become a mother to me because my mom was no longer here. And I learned that because I loved on them in life, you know, when they were no longer here, it didn't hurt as bad. It's gonna hurt regardless.
Right.
But it didn't hurt as bad. I was still able to sleep at night. You know, I was still able to keep my head up because I did all I could do for them in life, you know. And I allowed myself time to feel whatever it is I gotta feel. Nobody's gonna tell me not to cry. Nobody. Listen, for my mother, when my biological mother died, they took me to the hospital because I was crazy. I mean, emotionally crazy, and they shot me up with Valium
Oh, wow.
to try and calm me down because, you know, the tragedy of it all. You know, so young and how she died.
Right.
It was just hard to get over. It was hard to move past it. You know, because you're sitting there constantly thinking, oh my God, what did she go through? What was she feeling? What was happening at that moment? You know, but I just feel like with death, you gotta allow yourself to feel. You gotta allow yourself to go through the different stages. And Steve Harvey said it. Thank God there are different stages of death. Because if we got it all at one time, we wouldn't survive it.
Yeah.
Sonia?
Well, yeah. It's talking about this just bring emotions back. And it makes it hard to talk. I mean, as far as losing a husband, your covering,
Yeah.
your provider, your protector, so here I am left with a daughter that has no protection. So I had to be the protection. And just like Pop said, everybody, oh, I'll be there, and yeah, they're there for a little while, then they disappear. And then you call. And they come when they're ready to come. And that's fine because people, they have their own lives at that point, but it still leaves you out there vulnerable from a woman's perspective of having, losing a husband.
I just wanted to ask a question.
Sure.
So, to you two, so, and our audience, you think about all these deaths that we've been through, but there's one death that I've never experienced. I've never experienced the loss of a spouse, not a physical death.
Okay.
But I think the worst death for me would be the death of my child. I don't know.
Just kill me, man.
Yeah, I don't know how I could handle. I don't know how I would handle if I lost a child. I tell my kids, listen, I'm not burying you. You're gonna bury me.
Right.
Because that's the natural order. But you got people out here that have lost their children, and I cannot imagine what that feels like.
Yeah.
So to me, losing a child is like the worst death that could ever take place. What's your thoughts?
Well, I happen to know someone that their child drowned at the age of maybe 3. And that person is so dark. Like, I don't even know. It's like when you have death is sometimes like a sickness, depending on who died. People stay away from you and try not to mention it. Even though they see you losing weight,
Right.
even though they see you coughing, they stay away from you.
Coughing.
And so when they see you mourning, they don't know what to say. I've had people say some crazy things to me.
Yeah.
Like, just say sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
But I want to speak about what I experienced with losing people that I care about is that their words live.
Yeah.
Truth.
The things that they were saying when they were alive
Right.
that I didn't pay too much attention
Resonate
to.
now.
When I go through certain things, it's like their words live,
Yeah.
and I pass things that my father said over to my son and my daughters
Right. Right.
that he said that I didn't pay attention.
Right.
One thing that parents say a lot and friends say a lot that you seek advice from or have helped you is that I won't always be here.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Listen to me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to give you some advice. I won't always be here when they help you. I like something that you said, Anita, is that I don't really, too late, maybe at 50, have time to be angry.
Yeah.
I don't have time for bitterness. I don't have time to entertain foolishness.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to love every day
Yeah.
like it's
The last day.
their last day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, you can't make me hate you because when you die, then I'm going to say, oh, the memories that we shared
Yeah.
and speak highly. Okay, this is being recorded. I have to be careful. It was people that didn't too much care for my father, and he had helped them. And then when he passed away, they came to me and they told me all the great things, but they never fixed a little small situation. But now I tell my kids when they're upset with me or they're upset with somebody, a friend, and I'm talking, I say, is it death do us part?
Wow. Yeah.
If it isn't to death do us part, fix it.
Yeah.
If when they're going, you're gonna miss them and wish you fixed it. Fix
Right.
it now.
Right.
So that's one thing that's kind of weird about death.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I feel like this. I wake up every day. I think about my loved ones. I'm finally to the place where I can smile. The last death in my life, I struggle with because it's only been 2 years. But I'm finally to the place where I can think about different things that I've experienced with certain loved ones, and I'm able to smile about it
Right.
now. I'm able to think about it. There's so many times me and my sister that was my only biological sister, and she was older than I, but she was everything. My best friend. She was my mother. I always looked at her like her and I would always be
Yeah.
two old ladies sitting on the porch laughing at different things going on in the family. She's the first one I called when something happened, good or bad. She's the one that I called and said, "Guess what happened, girl? You never believe this."
Right.
That was she was everything to me. And I think back now on a lot of things that we've experienced, and I laugh about, and things that go on in my life presently. Like I wish I could pick up the phone and call her and tell her. And she's my biggest supporter. So it's just, I'm glad I was able to be there for her. She was ill, so I'm glad I was able to be there to take care of her, and I did everything for her. So I say, like Pop just said, you live life like it's their last day, because you just never know.
Love up on them.
Oh my God, I don't have time for grudges. The people have done things to me. I don't have time to be mad at you.
Yeah.
I don't have time.
Yeah.
That's too much energy.
Too much.
It's just too much. So therefore, you know what? It is what it is. You have to live what you've done to me.
Yeah.
You have to live with it. I don't have time to be mad and angry and hold grudges. And when I see you rolling my eyes and suck, I ain't got
Too
time for
much
that.
energy.
And listen, first of all, I'm too old. Too old for all that.
But forgiveness is in order then at that point.
Absolutely.
Releasing.
That's when forgiveness really takes place, and you realize when after in hindsight, you look after people pass on. In hindsight, you're like, wow. You think about some of the craziness that with my dad, I let time pass by. I didn't visit him as often.
Yeah.
He moved out of state. I didn't visit as often.
Right.
And then I started, visiting, but then he had gotten ill.
Right.
And so it's just regrets that I let time pass that I could have had. So it's a lesson learned.
So I got a question. You said you allowed yourself to feel.
Absolutely.
How can you explain how you allow yourself to feel?
When sometimes you'll feel down, you'll feel like crying, you feel upset.
And
yeah,
it's
I
okay.
have my moment. I allow myself to have that moment, because people say, "Oh, don't cry, they're in a better place." No, listen, I understand all of that, but right now I am missing them.
Yeah.
I am hurt that they're not here anymore, and I'm going to feel this. I'm going to have this moment. Because if you don't have it now, it ain't going away. It's just going to come back another time. Because they're never coming back.
Right.
So I allow myself to feel. I allow myself to be in the moment. I don't allow anybody to tell me not to cry.
Right. You
Because
don't have to
people
be
will
strong
tell
for
you,
nobody.
yeah,
That's right.
no, I can't be strong for you. I'm going to lay out. I'm telling you now, I'm going to lay out.
Yeah.
So I just say, people, allow yourself to feel, allow yourself to be in the moment, allow yourself to mourn that person that you're missing and that have gone on. Allow yourself that moment. Don't try to be strong for the next person. Can't nobody be strong for you.
Yeah. It's true.
So just allow yourself to feel it. And that's
very
what I
true.
do. And that's how I get through my moments and my days. Because, you're always going to have a moment. And I think losing a mom, like, that's a death you never get over. Mm-hmm. It's different than any other death. I don't know if that's anybody else's experience, but the loss of a mother, that's a feeling that I don't know if you ever get over it. It gets better. You learn how to live with it. Mm-hmm. You learn how to accept. I don't even know if you accept it.
The last death that I think we all experienced
Yes.
was from our pastor, Bishop. It was hard, very hard for me to accept it or take it in because, really had nobody to lean on. Everybody that we knew
was going through
was
it.
going through. And basically, I don't want to say I dedicate this podcast to her, but I never, ever got to tell her that she saved my life.
Yeah.
When she met me, I don't know if I was suicidal or homicidal, but I was something.
You were sidal.
Something And she saved my life, and then to watch her pass hit places that I didn't think were there. It was like the two heroes that I had in my life.
Yeah.
I didn't.
That's
And
it.
heroes
Hero.
aren't supposed to die.
Yeah.
Heroes aren't supposed to die.
Right.
It's supposed to go.
And that's how we handled
Yeah.
her.
Listen,
We
she was
handled
our
her like that,
superhero.
yeah.
She was my mom. She was that
Yeah.
second mother that was given to me. And
Yeah.
I just knew she was going to be here to outlive me because
Yeah.
I was telling her all my business. I said, listen, take care of this. Make sure my kids get that.
Right.
I did.
But what I would say in this podcast is I can't tell you how to handle death, but I will tell you how you should handle life.
Right. That's good.
You have to let go of anger. You have to love on people. Don't be afraid because society thinks you can't tell a man that you love them. You can't tell a male friend that you love them,
Right.
that they'll put you in a category. Because when they're gone, you're going to talk to a lifeless person, a lifeless body, and tell that lifeless body,
I love you, man.
I love you.
Yeah.
So the only advice I could give to help you with death is to love life.
Absolutely.
And that's all I could say because I am not going to cry on this podcast.
Why not, Pop?
Listen,
Isn't
I'll
crying
cry
part
with
of
you, Pop.
healing?
I'll cry with
Oh,
you.
it is a part of healing. It's a part of healing. But the way I deal with death, I try to just let it go. I don't post anything on Facebook. Rest in peace. I don't
Yeah.
celebrate anniversaries.
Yeah.
I deal with it my own way, but I don't think the world should know.
Yeah.
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 You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't post either.
So the healing process, like how do you heal? Because for me, when I lost my husband, my coping mechanism was to run away, to be busy, to hang out, to just have fun, to get my mind off of it. But then when that process ends, then the next process begins. It's like, how do you heal? Do you think you're healed, Pop, Anita? Or are you healing?
I think I'm healing. But
Let me ask you questions. I'm sorry. Are you healing from the last loss, or have you healed from your mother, your sister, your brother? Your father.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
I understand. I think I don't know if I'll ever get over my mom's death.
Right.
It was so tragic. It was so the pain behind it. I always said that my sister and I, our grief was different. Okay, because I was so young. I mean, I was old enough to understand. I was 17.
Right.
But I'm missing mommy. My mommy. Where's my mommy? You know, my sister, on the other hand, was older. So they developed a different type of relationship. So therefore, my sister and my mom became like girlfriends.
Right.
You know, they were sharing secrets. They were talking to each other. Me, on the other hand, I never got that.
Right.
I got that from my second mom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because she came in my life when I was 24. And I think that's the one that I'm struggling with.
Yeah.
My mom, my biological mom, I don't think I'll ever get over. My dad, my sister, they hurt. I still hurt from it, but not over it,
Right.
but dealing with it.
Right.
But my last death, which is my second mom, I struggle because nobody else. I never took off time to stop and deal.
Right.
You know,
Right.
my mom. I was in summer school that year. I only missed the day that she died, and the day of her funeral. That's the only days I missed. I kept going.
Right.
Same with my sister, same with my dad. But with my second mom, I was out of work 4 months. And the only reason I went back to work because I felt like I was going to go stir crazy if I stayed in the house anymore.
Right.
I got to get out. I got to do something because I'm not used to just sitting there doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I haven't healed from that yet. That's still very new, very fresh for me. But I'm somewhat I'm at peace with it. I'm
Yeah.
at peace with it because I did everything in life for her.
Right.
While she was alive, I did everything. I was very present with her. Everything I couldn't do with my biological mother, I did with her. And I got to the stage in life with her where children don't realize, but at some stage in your life, the wheels return.
Yeah. That's true.
It reverses because now you become everything to your parent instead of your parent taking care of you.
Yeah.
You're able
Yeah.
to take care of your parent.
Yeah.
So I got to that stage with her.
Right.
So I was able to start taking care of her and doing for her everything that I couldn't do for my biological.
Right.
I started doing for her.
Right.
So I'm at peace with that.
Right. Right.
So, you want to know if I healed? It matters where you touch at. I can be triggered.
There's
I
triggers.
could be triggered.
There's triggers.
If certain things happen, certain things said, it would trigger me.
And
It's
what
like-
happens
it's
when it's
almost-
triggered?
It's a step back, not a setback, but a step back.
Okay.
And I have to try to digest what just happened. Like, for Christmas, my son rather, he gave me a lock of my father's hair
Oh wow.
in a box, in a sealed box
Wow.
that I had cut from his funeral, and it was a setback. I mean, I appreciated the gesture, but it just made me think. My son never met my father, but yet carries a lot of his characteristics. The way he sleeps, the way he folds his legs when he sleeps, and I just sometimes paint a picture like, what if he met? What he would have been if he met? How he would have treated him if he met? And I'm never gonna get that. And the same thing that I said when my father passed is the same thing I say sometimes when I get triggered. This ain't fair.
Yeah.
This ain't fair.
Yeah.
He didn't grow old and die. He died at 48.
Right. Right.
And within 10 days of finding out that he was sick, he passed away.
Gone. Yeah.
And the only thing I knew was him. I was raised by him. He took care of me, and it was just very difficult.
Of course.
Well, that just goes to show you that, people have to be careful how they handle people. Because you don't know what they're dealing with. Because I'm listening to you speak, and at the age that you are, it's almost like you reverted back for a minute.
Just now,
Yeah.
I went to like Daddy.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like, you don't know what sends people off. You see the behavior, you see the evidence of something, but you don't know what it is. So we got to stop being so quick to judge people when they're acting a little off. You don't know what they're
What's their
dealing with.
trigger?
You don't know
That's
what's
true.
their trigger. Like, some people probably wonder why I'm like crazy when it comes to my daughter. And it's a trigger because I remember it takes me back to how she had a father, she had a protector. So not only do I have to be the mother, I have to be the father, the protector. So that makes me more aggressive when it comes to her. So you just don't know what people are dealing with, what sets them back, and stop judging a book by its cover, people. That's all I'm saying, because you just never know. So as far as Truth Is podcast is concerned, we just pray that we help someone out there have a better understanding, outlook about grief, and if you should need someone to talk to about any subject, maybe loss of a husband, mother, father, sister, brother, because I think we covered the bases here, just email us, or make a comment on the YouTube page, and we will get back to you about that. It's a somber topic, but it's a real topic, because people go through it every day, every day. But this is what this podcast is about. It's about helping. I know we laugh and joke, and some people really enjoy some of our previous podcasts, but it's about helping people for the most part. We walk around wearing masks like everything's great, and it's not. So again, this is the Truth Is podcast. We here to talk about everything and anything, and we hope that we helped you with this episode. Don't forget to like it, subscribe, so you can get more of our thoughts and our opinions in the future.